Hey guys, welcome to Girls Frontline 2. So we did have a confirmation recently that Centaureissi is going to be in our next limited banner and is dropping on February 27th. So Centaureissi, by the way, is a utility doll, not so much as your core support. Okay, we have three reasons on why you should get her. Only three. If you find yourself in these three reasons, definitely you should get her. So, number one is going to be if you're a waifu collector, definitely get her at V0. Next reason is going to be if you don't have Sumi right now in your roster and you're looking for a very good or extremely good healer, then definitely Centaureissi is going to be that girl for you. And the last one, if you're building a fire team and if you want her to be part of that fire team now, then you pull for her. So we're going over her skills and we're starting off with her basic attack. So a basic attack is stability damage is 3, selects an enemy target within 7 tile radius and deals physical damage equal to 80% of attack to it. Next up is going to be Careful Hospitality. It's a skill, single target, heal, and a buff. Stability damage is big, which is 6, and selects an enemy target within 7 tile radius and deals burn damage equivalent to 130% of attack to it. After attacking, restores HP equivalent to 100% of attack to the nearest allied unit, excluding self by the way, and gains thermal recovery for self. If the enemy target has overflowing flame, heals an additional ally excluding self. Next up is going to be Zukero's Special Drink. This is a skill, AoE heal and dispel. Selects an ally within 7 tile radius and restores HP equivalent to 150% attack to the ally and all allies within 3 tile radius, with the healing amount being unevenly distributed among all targets. Additionally, deals AoE physical damage equal to 50% attack to all enemies within range. If the enemy target has overflowing flame, dispels 2 buffs from the target. Next up is going to be Afternoon Tea Break, which is your ultimate. It's a heal, stability, recovery, dispel, and buff. Restores HP equivalent to 100% attack to all allies. Cleanses 2 debuffs. Panic and Stun restores 7 stability to the ally with the lowest stability. After healing applies thermal recovery. So dispels panic for this skill. And the last one is going to be her passive, which is Maid's Duty. Passive, buff, debuff, and support. At the start of the battle, gains thermal recovery. When Centaureissi has thermal recovery, increased damage dealt by 20%. Additionally, restores HP equal to 10% of max HP. When healing, applies overflowing flame on attack for 2 turns. If any dealt single target damage to an enemy within attack range, Centaureissi activates action support, which is, part of the mechanics of why she is that good. Against the enemy, first dealing physical damage equal to 80% attack and 3 stability damage to it, applies thermal recovery for the ally and increases contamination gauge by 1 point. This effect can be triggered up to 2 times. So that is her skill. And let's go through the key the key definitions of some of the terms that we missed. So overflowing flame, when gaining this effect and after the end of an action, the unit and all friendly units within 1 tile radius receives fixed damage equivalent to 10% of the caster's attack. This is considered a burn type debuff. So take note of this because this will play a big part on why you'll be getting her. And also later during our mod key, take note that she's going to be having a refreshing hot tea, increases crit damage by 10% and increases burn damage dealt by 15% for all allies when dealing burn damage. And Perfect Guard, this is also for her mod key, which we will be receiving a couple of months after, because this has been dropped or is going to drop in CN now. So the holder will not receive any damage from basic attacks or skills. The effect is dispelled after 1 instance of basic attack or skill this is considered a buff. So with that said, let's go to some crucial segments or vertebrae on which you will be getting her. There are 6 vertebrae, and there are only a few that are worth getting, so we'll go into them. So for her vertebrae upgrades, please consider at least V1, or the most is going to be V2. So for V1, upgrade 1, this is going to affect skill Maid's Duty. This is at level 2. When action support is activated, applies Flame Assault 2 and damage increase 2 on the ally for 1 turn. Take note that this does not support QJ's support attacks well, so you might as well give this to a DPS doll that can use this on its own turn. And for S2, another upgrade for Maid's Duty, which is level 3. When Centaureissi has thermal recovery, increases damage by 20% to 40% and increase healing efficacy by 20%. If the healed ally has thermal recovery, increases healing efficacy by 50% instead. If the enemy has overflowing flame, which we talked about previously, increase damage dealt by 50% instead. Okay, so these two are, it really depends on how much you're going to be investing in Centaureissi. V1 is actually good, but if you want to take her further, V2 is also great. As for weapon recommendations, we do have main standards for her signature weapon. So after healing allies, recovers 2 stability for self, but again, this is only for self. This effect can be triggered once per turn. When healing, if the standard target stability is less than 1, 2, 3, 4 / additionally recovers 2 stability. This effect can be triggered once, and the last one is going to be twice per turn. If the user has maximum stability, increases healing and damage dealt by 20, and it scales up to 40. Okay, in short, this skill, or the skill of the ability of the gun, is going to be more valuable as you get more copies of the gun. Not so much as the first copy, but once you get, again, multiple copies, probably the 3rd or the 4th copy, this is going to, be very, very good for you. Imprint skill is going to be increased damage dealt towards Paradeus units by 2.5%. The skill used deals elemental damage. Further increases damage dealt by 2.5%. So in short, the signature weapon at only 1 copy is not really a must pull. So I'm moving to the next gun because I think Guerno is going to be, right for her in the early stages. So at the start of the action, if the user has full HP, gains 1 random buff for 1 turn. So for every ally within 5 tile radius, excluding self, increases health, healing, and damage dealt by 5 up to 30%. So as a starter weapon, if you don't want to pull for her banner for Maid Standards, you could definitely get Guerno in the Battle Pass, but it's going to be the paid portion of the Battle Pass. Okay, the third option is going to be Golden Melody. This is more centered towards the support function of the gun. So this is your third option, and this is a free-to-play option, and more free-to-play options here. So Golden Melody, Planeta, and Heckler and Koch. So definitely go with Golden Melody if you're into a free option, because we could farm this for free in the shop. Lastly, let's talk about her mod key or her expansion key. So, at the start of the battle and after afternoon tea break, applies Refreshing Hot Tea on self for 2 rounds. Duration decrease at the end of the current round. So, Refreshing Hot Tea increases crit damage by 10% and increases burn damage dealt by 15% for all allies when dealing burn damage. So, she is going to get a huge buff for your burn team once the mod key comes out, and after activating Zucchero's special drink, applies Perfect Guard for all allies for 2 turns. When allies deal burn damage, or when Centaureissi activates action support, increases contamination gauge by 1 point. This can be activated once per round as well. So Perfect Guard is the holder will not receive damage from basic attacks. This effect is dispelled after 1 instance of basic attack or skill and is considered a buff. So she has great buffs and great protection for her team, guys. So if I may say, once this mod key drops, definitely you'll be considering Centaureissi as part of your main burn team, because this will help your team with the buffs and with the sustain that this mod key will give. Okay, so with that said, those are your considerations if you want to pull for Centaureissi. I will leave it up to you to decide whether she's good enough for you or not. Thank you guys for staying this far. Take care, stay safe. This is the Warden, and I'm out of here.